Hey guys, it's Chelsa Messenger with Picks and Parlays. SEC football is finally back. We've got a nice little deal, 15% off the entire site at picksandparlays.net if you use the code SEC. We're talking Florida at Ole Miss. Florida, big road favorites in this one, minus 14.5. The total is 57. UF number 5 in the AP polls. Lane Kiffin making his debut as the head coach of Ole Miss. Some storylines for that one. Craig Trapp joining us to talk this SEC matchup. Craig, what jumps out to you when you look at this one?
Well, Lane Kiffin is always a lightning rod when it comes to, do you like him? Do you hate him? People are all over the map. I mean, obviously he's won and done well on offense pretty much everywhere he's gone. Even when he was in the NFL, his offenses have been good. But of course, he has the naysayers, and doing it at the highest level here in the SEC is a big thing. But that's why the SEC is so good. They get the best and the brightest coaches, and I think it's going to be a tough matchup to start the year. And you get the home. I mean, it would be great to pack stadium with your underdog, your first game. But I think that's the storyline definitely coming in, is how much will Lane Kiffin improve an Ole Miss team that probably needs maybe a season for his recruiting to kick in, I would imagine.
There's a reason they fired their coach because they
That's
weren't
right.
very good last year. So he doesn't have his players in there yet, and it's a shortened off season, or I don't know how you would say that, but bottom line, they haven't had as much time to prepare with all the COVID stuff. So I'm not sure if he can get going right off the bat against a Florida team that obviously the AP voters really like if they're number 5. Granted, before the show, we were talking about how the Pac-12 and the Big 12 don't have, or the Big 10, excuse me, don't have a say in those top rankings. So maybe not quite as good as that number reflects, but 14.5 is a lot of points, especially for a road team.
The problem I have with is I think Lane Kiffin, the better of those two quarterbacks, is the running quarterback, which isn't necessarily fit into the Lane Kiffin MOs that he's had and when he's had good offenses in the past. So, and this Florida defense is really fast as always. They're really good, and I think Florida is just a farther, they're just farther along in the progression. And since you don't have to beat, you're not. I mean, yes, you're on the road, but you don't have to deal with the hostile environment. I think Florida will go in there and take care of business. And the hook worries me a little bit, so I definitely would probably wait till later in the week because it's 14.5. I'd love to have it at 14. There's nothing worse
Mm-hmm.
than team dominating, winning 28-14, and you don't get the win here. But I don't think it'd go to 15, so I would wait later in the week. Hope it's at 14, but I definitely think Florida's clearly the better team, and Lane Kiffin's going to get it turned around. I do think that. I just don't think it's at this point of the season, like you said. I think it's later, either this season or next.
I think another bet worth looking at is maybe a first half bet on Florida if you get a little bit of a better number, because the problem when you lay some of these big numbers, as we've seen in college football, is the backdoor cover. Or, in Clemson's case, they didn't score a single point in the second half. So when it comes to the big numbers, maybe take a gander at that first half number. And if you like it, jump on it.
The one worry would be on the first half in this one. I could see Lane Kiffin. I mean, he's very creative when it comes to offense and special
Mm-hmm.
teams and trick plays. And I could see if they would take the ball, I would imagine, if they have the opportunity. And I could see where they kind of maybe even get out to an early lead in this one with a surprise play here or there. But I think Florida's speed just wears them down. And eventually the better athletes win, and Florida just clearly has the better athletes. And I think, and also I think Florida defense might even get a special a touchdown or a special teams touchdown. So I think that always helps when you're the road favorite as well.
And I think that's why they're favored so heavily, and also the continuity factor. Florida returns
Yep.
a lot more players from a much better team from last season. I think the issue is just the number. That's really what you're looking at here. And if you think they cover, you think they cover, because it is a good Florida team with a lot of returning players from 11-2 team last season.
Yeah, SEC having the extra length of time for that, I think, will help early. Obviously, both these teams are playing their first games. So having the longer time instead of having to start it 3 weeks ago, as we've seen some of these other conferences, I think the SEC games will actually be really good this week. We'll see more quality play than we did early in some of these other conferences.
Well, I'm excited for sure because I love SEC football. That's going to do it for Picks and Parlays. Thanks for joining us, Craig. Good stuff as always.